Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel, that is the R in the RK Stumblingbear, and I am back for my third vlog of the Magical Readathon. If you have not seen the previous weeks, I am doing the Hearthkeepers prompts, so that I have 4 books, and out of those 4, I have read 2 of them, and I'm on book number 3. But I'm also, of course, reading other books. So, the book I'm reading currently for the Magical Readathon, it's heavy, is The Black Company by Glenn Cook. This also happens to be a buddy read for a Goodreads group I'm in, and it just worked out perfectly for a prompt for the Magical Readathon, so I love it when I can double dip on things. This is supposed to be the original grimdark book, and I remember many years ago when Glenn Cook was coming to my local con, I picked it up to read and I bounced off of it. But since then I've read a lot more grimdark, so I think I was prepared more for this one. Now, however, the chapters in this book are long, like 30 pages per chapter. So I'm 3 chapters in, and I'm like at page 100. So it can kind of feel like a slog, I think, because of how long the chapters are. But I am finding it interesting. At least this last chapter was really interesting. We're following Croker's perspective, and he's the company physician. And he keeps also the history of the company and their deeds. So he tends to be asked to go on like the big missions so that he can witness them for himself. And in this last chapter, they were trying to find a rebel leader in a town and discredit him. So it was actually really interesting to see how that got pulled off. And I enjoyed that aspect. I think so far it's been my favorite chapter. I know the first chapter was set up. The second one, I felt like Cook was very much establishing, look, this is a dark, grim world. But in chapter 3, we're actually getting to see this is kind of what they do as soldiers. So that was really fun. And then the other books I'm working on the side are The Tusks of Extinction by Ray Naylor. This is actually a buddy read in another group, a sci-fi group that I'm part of, and was nominated for the Nebulas and the Hugos. So I was picking up sooner rather than later. And this one is interesting. It is about mammoths that have been brought back to life, and the mammoths had to learn how to be mammoths, so they brought back the consciousness of a dead elephant activist. I mean, more than that, she was a ranger. Her name's Demira, and they placed her consciousness inside a mammoth so she could teach the mammoths how to be mammoths, which is, you gotta admit, is a very interesting concept. There's a lot of environmentalism in the story, which is interesting, but what I'm not jiving so much with is you get a lot of flashbacks, and I'm not a big flashback person, so we're going from what the present, and then we're getting all this flashbacking, which is supposed to be giving us context, I guess, but I would rather they just tell the story. So it's slow going, even though it's a novella. I also think it has way too many POVs for a novella. And then the third book I am reading is one of my anticipated new releases, and that is A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett, his newest book. And if you watched my week 1 vlog for the Magical Readathon, you will have seen me pick this up from my indie bookstore. So I'm also reading this and getting into the mystery of how somebody could be murdered and their body removed from a locked room. And, the bigger implications that are going on, because there always are. It's just a very fun, world to be in, which I think Robert Jackson Bennett is pretty known for his very creative worlds and creative uses of magic. that are then also seamless into the world itself. So, yeah, these are the 3 books that I will be reading and working on this week, and yeah, I hope to finish some of them. Filming a clip to talk about how my reading's been going so far. We are in week 3 of the Magical Readathon, and I have books to talk about. So my priority read this week, that because it's one of my prompts, is The Black Company by Glenn Cook, and I have read up through chapter 5. Now, these chapters are long. They're like 30 pages long, which is crazy. So I'm not sure if I have 2 or 3 more chapters left to finish this. And this book is following the Black Company, which is a mercenary company, as they have just taken on a new contract to work for someone called the Lady, who is fighting a civil war. You have the Lady's troops, and you have the rebels, as they're called. And the Black Company has been hired to fight on the Lady's side. Now, they make it very clear throughout that they're no angels. They're not honorable men. They have fought many times in the history of the company for tyrants and horrible people, because it's who does the contract with them. But this is kind of written in vignettes. We're following Croker, who is the company's doctor, but he also is like the historian. So he right now is the one keeping track of what's happening. And so you'll have a chapter that will talk about an event, and then the next chapter is there's been a span of time before the next thing. And also it does not dwell on a lot of the fighting. You don't really get fighting scenes per se, or at least not huge battles of them. There are mentions of rape and plundering, but they don't actually show you anything graphically on page. And Croker's character, he admits this is what the mercenary company will do in certain situations. It's not how he necessarily wants the men to be remembered. So this can be very problematic for people. It's working for me. It doesn't mean I agree with what's happening, but I can read it and realize how shitty this world is. And, partly it's also the decisions that these characters make. I mean, they're the ones who made this contract. Actually, I am enjoying it this time around. I know my buddy read group, I don't think that they are going to like it. I think someone's already kind of picked it up, tried it, DNF'd it, and everybody else is kind of waiting to start until next week. But that's how I'm going on this one. I recently finished The Tusks of Extinction by Ray Naylor. This novella was nominated for the Hugos and the Nebulas. So in a future videos, I'll have more information about this. But high level, concept of this is mammoths have been resurrected, and they needed to be taught how to be mammoths, and so they also resurrected a mind of a huge elephant advocate to be put into one of the mammoths to teach them how to be mammoths. This is very much in the future, where even elephants are extinct, or they live in game captivity, basically for people to sport hunt. There is a lot of environmentalism that is talked about in this book, and in the acknowledgments, Naylor definitely talks about his influences and mentions other books, and I know I've added all of those to my interested to read, because now I'm like, oh, I want to know more about elephants and all of that. And then I just personally, for myself, well, also, it's a new release. I am working on A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. If you've seen my week 1 vlog, you'll see when I picked it up, because it was released on April 1st. And I would say I'm about 60% into this. I'm really enjoying it. Bennett has just created a very intriguing world that uses biodiversity to function. And I like the mystery aspect of it as well, where Din is taking in all of the information and Anna is putting together conclusions. Din is, also starting to learn how to make some conclusions, but getting to see their partnership and how when Anna reveals, hey, this is the conclusion I've come to, I like that you can look back and you can see the steps of how she got there. It's not just like came out of nowhere. No, there are clues that are hidden. So this is really well paced and I'm really enjoying it. And we're gonna go back to doing fun Magical Readathon week event stuff. So I'm back to finish out week 3 of the Magical Readathon, give you an update on my progress. I have finished 3 things. I have finished The Tusks of Extinction by Ray Naylor. I finished The Practice, the Horizon, and the Chain by Sophia Samatar. And I finished The Black Company by Glenn Cook. This is an omnibus. There's 3 novels in here. I only finished the first one. That was all I needed for my Magical Readathon prompt. So I'm happy to say that this prompt is done. I finished 3 of the 4. I am still currently reading A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. I don't think I've really read much since last time I updated. I have started The Butcher of the Forest by Premi Mohammed, which was nominated for the Nebulas and the Hugos. It's a novella. I made progress on Challenger by Adam Higginbotham. I don't normally remember my audiobooks, but I've been doing more driving, so that's why it's fresh in my mind. And then I'm going to be starting today Alien's Bishop by T.R. Napper. And this is the last one that has a prompt for the Magical Readathon. That's everything. All right. I will see you in week 4.